Hello, let us look at some review questions for our first geometry exam. It's going to be pairs of the angles and also basics of coordinate geometry. Let's try to look at it together. So first we have in the accompanying diagram, line A intersects line B. Okay, when two lines intersect, as you can see over here, we end up getting a vertical angles. So then what we can set up is x plus 5 has to be equal to 2x minus 5. You see the vertical angles, opposite angles are congruent to each other. So here we can add 5 to each side. Then we get to realize x plus 10 is equal to 2x. And as we subtract x from each side, 10 is equal to x. Hence, x must be equal to 10. Choice 3. Now, let us look at the second question. If the measure of an angle is represented by 2x, okay, so 2x is one angle, which expression represents the measure of its complement? The complement basically means we have to add up to 90. The fact that one of them is 2x, then the other one must be 90 minus x, 90 minus 2x, which is choice 2. All right, then let's look at number 3. The measures of two complementary angles. Okay, so these are complementary angles. That means what are we going to do? We're going to add them up and set it equal to 90. So here we get 3x plus 15 plus 2x minus 10 must be equal to 90. So here's the second angle, here's the first angle. So 3x and 2x, when you add them up, we end up getting 5x. And 15 minus 10 becomes 5. So hence, that's equal to 90. As you subtract 5 from both sides to leave x alone, you get to see that 5x must be equal to 85. And as you divide by 5 on each side, x must be then equal to 17. And that's basically what they're looking for. Choice 1. All right, let's look at number 4 here. The line segment AB has endpoints right here, A and B. What are the coordinates of the midpoint of AB? So in order for you to get midpoint, our formula would have been x of 1 plus x of 2 divided by 2, and then y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. So obviously the first one will be x of 1, and second one will be x of 2, and then y sub 1, y sub 2 in this manner. So then when we add them up, we end up getting 2 plus negative 4 over 2. That's the x value. How about y value? Negative 3 plus 6 divided by 2. Then what do we end up getting? Negative 2 plus negative, 2 plus negative 4 becomes negative 2 over 2. And negative 3 plus 6 becomes 3 over 2. Then you can see that negative 2 over 2 becomes negative 1, and 3 over 2 becomes 1.5. Now, then in this case, negative 1, that seems to be these two things, and 1.5, that's equal to 1.5. So therefore, our answer is choice 2. Number 5, the endpoint CD, as you can see over here, what are the coordinates of the midpoint? Then we have to use the same distance formula. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to maybe copy this one. Bring it right over here. So then we can see that here, this can be x of 1 and then y sub 1. This can be x of 2 and then y sub 2. So to find the midpoint, all we have to do is add them up and divide by 2. So here we get negative 2 plus 6 over 2. That's the x value. Y values are negative 4 plus 2 over 2. Negative 2 plus 6 becomes 4 divided by 2. And then negative 4 plus 2 becomes negative 2 over 2. Then the first point becomes 2, and second one becomes negative 1. So 2 comma negative 1 becomes our answer, which is choice 2. All right, let's look at number 6. Point M is the midpoint of AB if coordinates of A and B, okay, we don't have B, but we have M, the midpoint. What are the coordinates of B? So here, since I don't know what it is, let me call that as x of 2 and then y of 2. And notice that midpoint is given here. Then you can see that when you add up the two x values, negative 3 plus x of 2 divided by 2 must be equal to x value of the midpoint, which is negative 5. We can always put it over 1, and when you cross multiply them, we get negative 3 plus x of 2 is equal to negative 10. And obviously we can add 3. Then x of 2 must be equal to negative 7. How about y value? We can see something similar. So this must be x of and y sub 1, and this is y sub 2. So we get 6 plus y sub 2 over 2 must be equal to 2. Yes, we can put it over 1 as well. And as we cross multiply them, we get 6 plus y sub 2 is equal to 4. Then as you subtract 6 from both sides, then we get y sub 2 must be equal to negative 2. So negative 7 comma negative 2 becomes our answer, which is choice 4. All right, let's look at number 7. The line segment AB is diameter of the circle O, whose center is the center is basically another name for midpoint of the diameter. So then, what are the coordinates of the point B if the coordinates of A are this? So since we don't know what B is, we're going to call that as x sub 2 and then y sub 2, same way as before. So here we get, in terms of x, 4 plus x subscript of 2 divided by 2 must be equal to 6. And we can put it over 1, cross multiply, then we get 4 plus x of 2 is equal to 12. And when you subtract 4 from both sides, you can see that x of 2 must be equal to 8. So it seems like our answer has to be choice 3. Let's try to look at the y values just to make sure. So y values are, you can see that, 2 and y sub 2 has to get us 8. So 2 plus y sub 2 divided by 2 must be equal to 8. Obviously, I can put it over 1 and then cross multiply them. So here we get 2 plus y sub 2 must be equal to 16. Then when you subtract 2, we get y sub 2 must be equal to 14. So a comma 14, as we expected it, number 3 is our answer. Number 8, a line segment on the coordinate plane, endpoints are this one and this one. But midpoint segment is this. So once again, midpoint is given to us. That means this will be similar to our previous question, right over here. So then, since the only thing that which we are concerned about is y, we get to realize that 4, which is y sub 2, right over here, y sub 1, plus y sub 2, which is y sub divided by 2, must be equal to y value, which is 7. So I'm going to call it over 1. When you cross multiply them, we get 4 plus y must be equal to 14, because 7 times 2 equals 14. And then when you subtract 4 from both sides, we get y must be equal to 10. Hence, 10 becomes our answer, choice 2. All right, let's look at number 9 here. 4 comma 7. So 4 comma 2, 4, 6, 7. That's 4 comma 7. 1 comma 11. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, kind of goes out of the graph paper, but I'm looking for a line segment that connects from here to here. How do you do that? You see, one thing that which we can do is we can set up a vertical differences and then horizontal differences, which will get us the right triangle here. Horizontal difference between those 2 points would have been 3. Vertical seems to be 4. And then I'm going to call that as C. Then what are you getting? 3 squared plus 4 squared must be equal to C squared. And here we get 9 plus 16 must be equal to C squared. Then we get 25 must be equal to C squared. Now, then here, to find the value of C must be equal to 5. So our answer becomes 5. Now, let's look at number 10. How about the first point is negative 1, 9, which would have been right over here. Second one is 7, and then 4. So then once again, that's the distance that I'm looking for. And then the vertical difference would have been this much, and horizontal difference would have been that much. Then what is the vertical difference? It would be 5 units in this way, and then 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 units horizontally. So then this is equal to C. Then we can write it as 5 squared plus 8 squared must be equal to C squared. Then here we can get 25 plus 64 must be equal to C squared. When you add them up, we get 89 is equal to C squared. Then of course I can take the square root on both sides. Then C must be equal to square root of 89. And that's it. Or if you want to calculate this one into the calculator and put this one into the decimal form, then that's perfectly fine as well. I believe it becomes around 9.4. Number 11. 2 hikers started at the same location. So one traveled 2 miles east. So here, let's call this one as the point. 2 miles east to the right, and then 1 mile north. So that's the location of the first hiker. Second is 1 mile west. That's right. And 3 miles south. So once again, then when we are looking for the distance, we just have to connect those 2 things here. And of course, we're going to try to bring down the vertical line and horizontal line. Let's look at it. So vertical difference is 4 and horizontal is 3. Then what is that distance, C? So I'm going to write it as 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to C squared. And here we get 9 plus 16 must be equal to C squared. So C squared is equal to 25 when you add them up. Then C must be equal to 5. So 5 happened to be the answer one more time. Alrighty, let's look at number 12. A translation moves 3, 5 to 6, 1. So you see, notice that P to P prime, what happened? 3, 5 to P prime 6, 1. Can you see that X has increased by 3, but Y has decreased by 4? Now, that means what are the coordinates of the image of the point? So we're going to get negative 3, negative 5. It's going through the same translation right over here. Then X will be added on by 3. Y, on the other hand, will be subtracted 4. Then here, negative 3, positive 3, we get 0 for X. Negative 5 minus 4 becomes negative 9. So that becomes our answer, choice 1. Number 13 is a similar. The image of this point under translation t is this. So then what happened? Negative 2 comma 3 has been now relocated at 3 comma negative 1. And obviously negative 2 to 3 you have to add 5. While in terms of y you subtracted 4. Then similarly, what is the image of the point 4 comma 2? Using the same translation. So x has to be add, x has to gain 5. Then we get to realize 4 plus 5 becomes 9. And y will lose 4. So 2 minus 4 becomes negative 2. So 9 comma negative 2, which is choice 4, becomes our answer. All right, let's look at number 14. Design was constructed. So here you can see that this is our original, and that's our new image. Then what happened to x and what happened to y? Let's look at it. 2 became 3. Originally we have x comma y, but what is our new value of x? 2 became 3, that means we increased by 1. How about y? 4 became 1, that means we subtracted by 3. So x becomes plus 1 and then y is minus 3. So let's look at this point C as to match. 2 became 3 because we added 1 to x, but negative 1 became negative 4 because we subtracted 3. That works out, right? How about D? Let's look at it. In terms of x, we have to add 1. So negative 6 plus 1 becomes negative 5. But in terms of y, we need to subtract 3. So negative 1 minus 3 becomes negative 4. All right, how about B? But notice that B is somewhat interesting because we already have the result. We have to go to the pre-image. So how can you get negative 5 by adding 1? That means we need to subtract 1. So hence we have to get negative 6. How can you lose 3 and get 1? Because when you go backwards, you have to gain 3. So we end up getting plus 4. Negative 6 comma 4 would have been the point B before the translation. All right, let's look at number 15. So here we have TAP, the triangle, on the set of axes, graph and label T prime, A prime, P prime after this translation. So let's try to look at it. First, negative 1 comma 4. So that's T. Second, 2 comma 4. That's A. And then 2 comma 0. That's P. So we have a triangle. All right, so that's the new one. But x and the y, x will lose 5, y will lose 1. Then here, this is original T. Negative 1 comma 4. What will happen? X will lose 5. So T prime becomes negative 6. Y will lose 1. So 4 became 3. How about A? A was 2 comma 4. How about A prime? In case of x value, we have to subtract 5. So we end up getting negative 3. And then how about y? We have to subtract 1. So 4 becomes 3 as well. How about P? P is 2 comma 0. So in case of x, P prime, 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. 0 minus 1 becomes negative 1. And those are the T prime, A prime, P prime. So let's look at it. T prime, negative 6, comma 3. And A prime is negative 3, 3. And negative 3, negative 1. So the red one is our new triangle based upon the translation. Alrighty, let's look at number 16. Point A is located at this place. The point is reflected in the x-axis. Then what happens? If something is reflected about the x-axis, x stays the same, but y will be negated. So here we have x comma y is going through the reflection. Then we're going to get x stays as it is, y will be negated. So here we get 4 stays as it is, which is choice 3. And 7 will be negated, so negative 7 becomes positive 7. Choice 3 becomes our answer. How about number 17 here? The coordinate of the endpoints are given in this way. The graph and then state the coordinates of A prime and B prime. The image of A and B after AB is reflected about the x-axis. So then we talked about how we can draw the alrighty, so here we get 0, comma 2. That's A, and then it's 4, comma 6. So A and B. Now, so that would be the line segment AB. But if you have to reflect this one about the x-axis, then what would happen? So A is 2 units above the x-axis, so it's going to go down 2 units below. That's going to call it A prime. B is what? 2, 4, 6 up, so you're going to go down by 6 down. 2, 4, 6. And then B prime. And you see that the red one and green one, they must be reflection of each other about the x-axis. Alrighty. And we need to state the coordinates. So A prime is equal to 0, comma negative 2. And B prime, 2, 4, 4, comma negative 8. And that's it. All right, so with that, we'll close it for now, and I'll see you later.